Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the Mirror podcast. Second episode of 2021. The first episode was me yapping at you, so I had to calm myself down and bring on the first guest of 2021. I'm excited to have a guest 2021 today. Stephanie Joanette is with us. Stephanie, how are you?
Am I really the first guest?
You're the first guest of this year.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Cheers.
We said at the same time.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Happy to have you.
I really like what you're doing here, so I'm excited.
Ditto. Let's get into it. Like, for anybody that doesn't know Stephanie, you and I met here in Dallas. Mm-hmm. You were doing concert promotions. You're working with Premier Live, right, and Blex. And so people down here, if you're listening in Dallas, some of you guys know who Stephanie is. But if you're in Colorado or the other places, if you don't know Stephanie does all kinds of stuff. Stephanie, when I connected with her, you were doing concert promotions, and I think you were doing some other stuff. I think you were also doing marketing and all those other things. Like, you're hustling. How about that? Yeah. You're hustling. But anyways, since I've met you, I've connected with your energy. You have a different vibe. You and I think, have some similarities as far as like being empaths, being deep feelers, being passionate, hard workers. But yeah, I think the one thing I would say is that deep emotion that we both feel. We're very, very emotional people, which, that's good and bad and whatever, but I don't want to talk about you too much. Can you kind of just give us a rundown of like, who are you? Like, what are you about? Who are you? A little bit of your story. Just give us some context.
So who am I? That's, honestly, this is how I'm going to answer that, because I hate that question, not in a bad way. It's just, I never answer that because I'm like, who am I? Everything. Right now that I'm the person that, I'm trying to find myself, and, a little bit of my past, I have my cosmetology license as far as like career and work wise. And I was doing accounting and finance manager for a while. I was in the dealership life for about 10 years. And then I, kind of learned marketing and artist management, putting on a show. So where everything that has led me to right now, like I'm doing absolutely nothing in a sense. Like I'm working on myself and what I want to be. But I think, does that answer like who I am? I don't really not good at that question. And
it's not I have to ask that because it's just like the basic intro of like, tell us all about yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
so beautifully. And I'm like, who am I?
You're yourself. I like that. Like, and I've noticed like on just following you, online, just like you're very authentic. I respect that about you. You're very authentic. And like you even said, like you had a lot, like I'm assuming that you had a lot of good opportunities, and like you had quite the career going. Like I know you were working in marketing or sales with the dealership.
I was doing sales and then accounting, and I helped put on, an event with the marketing team. So I wanted to help when I was working there, but I did a little bit of everything. So title work, billing, and warranty, and learning I really, really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Time that I was there at the dealerships. So.
And then now where you're at now, so you kind of took a step back and like pivoted, right?
Yeah. So it's just, I have been through so much that I think all that helped me to get to this point in life, because I decided to make a change that I wanted to really take a risk and, learn myself and heal and realize who I am as a person, because 3.5 years ago, like I hit trauma, and my whole family hit a sense of trauma that is unexplainable. And during that time, I was like giving the world my best when I was at my worst, And so I feel I'm happy that, I did that and I needed that. But now I just kind of like, I had circumstances at work that kind of, made me walk away. I walked away, and I don't really have a plan right now. So I'm going, and it's been so amazing. Like, I've had people hire me to do like promo videos, or, I don't even know what I'm doing right now, to do, and I'm, marketing. I'm actually going to, I'm working on putting on an event here in the near future. So I'm really excited about. So yeah, I'm here and I'm doing hair, and, I'm spending time with my kids. So I'm just literally taking my life day by day. And it was scary to jump, but I did it.
Sure.
And I will never. And I told myself, like, I remember, this is so corny. It was 2:22 p.m. It was a Friday. I was like, that's it. Like, I've made a decision to change my life, you know, and I'm going to be put on that. And if all else fails, I can just go back to what I know, you know?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, that's kind of like what I've been on.
I love that. I personally, I wish more people would do that. You know, we get into this mindset of like, I got to build a career, I got to make money, I have to like buy a house and have a nice car and like make a family and do all these American dream things.
Yeah.
And I was in the same boat. Like, I worked in the corporate world and I was running restaurants and I was headed towards money and moving up the ladder. And I was like, one day I was just like, this isn't it. This isn't it. Like, I love music, I love talking, I love other things. I want to build my own business, you know, like, so I quit. I think it's empowering. You've kind of said that.
Yeah, it is very empowering, and I've noticed it's been inspiring, you know. And I'm the kind of person, like, I dropped out of high school. I got pregnant young, but I always knew what I wanted to do. Like, I did cosmetology early on. Like, I literally had crystals when I was 8 years old, and I was selling. I was 8. Like, I would go door to door. I'd be like, you want to buy my crystals? And I'd be like $15 here, $20 there, and like, that's just always in me. So so that means, like, you know, I've always known what I wanted, but now, like, I'm in such a transition in my life, and it's weird because I don't have a plan. And if people are like, hey, what have you been up to? Like, I don't know. I just know that I'm good right now. Like, you know what I mean? And you know, I've noticed, like, and it's helped, you know, other people in my life, my kids, my family, my loved ones, my friends. Like, I can, you know, incorporate more time to them and really connect with them or be there for them, than opposed to like running 40 million different ways, you know? Because I would wake up at 5 and go to sleep like at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, get 1 hour, maybe 2 hours of sleep, and then be on the go the next day. Like, Red Bull was my diet. So.
I know it. I live the life. That's and I think there's good things to it though, right? Like, didn't you learned a lot, I'm assuming, from that, right? Like, you learn a lot from those experiences, and then you take that with you as you like take the next step or you pivot. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's part of everything. Like, that's what I've come to appreciate. Like, there's no bad blood. Like, there's, you know, a couple of situations that made me feel uneasy, but I needed that. That's what I'm telling myself lately. Like, when I'm upset, I'm like, okay, Steph, like, you need this because, you know, I always went blank. It's so much that. What was the question?
just all the stuff that you learn from being in the business world and hustling and doing 17 things and sleeping for 2 minutes and then going back to the grind. But you're saying it, like you were saying it. You're learning, and it's uncomfortable sometimes to move away from that because you get comfortable. Like, it sounds crazy, like, oh my God, she slept for an hour, but I'm assuming like you got comfortable in it, right?
Yeah, I got accustomed to it, you know, but I put myself through that because I needed, like, those specific times in my life, I needed to keep my mind busy and distracted, you know. But I've seen that you do, like, and I've learned so much. Like, I could comfortably run a concert from top to bottom if I wanted to, or, you know, I could, you know, close on someone if they wanted to purchase the car from start to finish and close the sale. I know how to do that kind of stuff. And you need a highlights and a lag, boom, come on, let's do it. Like, but aside from like the physical mannerisms of doing that, like the knowledge behind it, the mental growth that I've had from it, seeing how, you know, people and associates are, you know, just learning everything, and, you know, and how people treat you when like you're mentally not okay, or, you know, how people treat you when you are mentally okay, or really learning how to separate all that, you know, in your life to like continue forward. Like, everything is learning. What's a lesson, or what is that saying? Like, you're a lesson, or I don't know. I'm getting old. Alzheimer's.
I'm with you. I'm 33, and I'm like, the other day I was doing the same thing as you. I was talking to my buddy, and I was sitting in his truck, and we were just talking, and I looked at him. I was like, bro, I forgot what I was saying. Like, I literally forgot what I was saying, and I had to just be like, all right, well, I guess we'll talk about something else. Like, it's I don't know. Anyways, we're getting older.
I don't know why that is. Like, sometimes I'm used to talking, you know, because I know like only like 2 people in my life close to, like, or 3 that I really vent to, but I'm quiet. So maybe that's why I'm like, oh, you're talking. Like, I don't know.
We hold
Yeah.
ourselves in, especially in America, we hold ourselves to like the standard of perfection and like performance, and like I can't make any mistakes, and if people are watching I got to look good, and like I've even had that where I've had to just be like, you know what, whatever, like if I look like an idiot in front of people or I say something dumb and they're like, oh wow, crazy guy, I'm like, whatever, like that's me, like leave me alone.
Yeah, it's
Come at
like,
me, bro.
like, dude, you hype me so much right now. Like, that's very powerful. Like, that's energy right now. Like, I'm speaking my truth, and I'm not going
Yeah.
be shy of who I am. Like, you either accept me or you don't. And, it's so hard to get to that point because subconsciously we do care, I mean, I
Yep.
care about people that, are close to me. Like, I respect them. So their opinion matters. But sometimes I'm just like, okay, like, if you think that's dumb, like, I know you probably have your tendencies or, things that are not normal to me, but you just refuse to show it. Like, I'm not shy about who I am.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
it over.
Yeah. I
But you
love
understand.
that. I totally understand it. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about is like, I was thinking about this earlier because we had talked about this previously about being misunderstood. And that's kind of what you're saying right here is like, we are who we are. And some people don't get it because they're not like that. So it's no judgment. Like if you can't take all this and you think this is too much or you think that's too much, that's all right. I'm going to be me, you're going to be you, we're going to still be ourselves. Not everybody can take it, not everybody can handle it, and that's what I've learned. And I want to get your perspective on like, how have you like been able to handle like learning like, look, part of life is being misunderstood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the situations that I've been put through has put me there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I talked, previously, behind the scenes, I guess you can say, but, you know, and I'll just say like my father is a child molester. So that right there, figuring that out automatically put me in a category for my life forever and my loved ones to where no one's really going to understand the mental health and trauma that put someone through. So it was, that moment in my life that I really realized like you cannot expect other people to understand you. You cannot hold people because I would expect, before that, like I need, you to understand where I'm coming from, or I'm doing this for you. Like, why can't you reciprocate it? Like, we're all different. And, if you have someone in your life or the people that you're around, if you have them to where they understand who you are, as far as like, taking it easy with you or whatever, like that speaks volumes because they know that they can recognize that there's that perception's a reality, But if there's other people that don't, understand you, and I've experienced that, like to me, it's just like, okay, like I'm gonna let you think what you want to think, and we're gonna keep the peace, and I'm just gonna keep it going and keep being misunderstood. Like I very much so feel like a misfit often, and I feel like I'm super annoying. And like, why are you saying that, Stephanie? Like, why are you downing yourself because of whatever? And it's just so easy to go down that
Mm-hmm.
spiral.
Yeah,
It's something that, yeah. Go ahead.
it's self-doubt, like we all deal with like this self-doubt of like, I think even people, people that may not accept you and like, I don't get her, she's crazy. I would assume they also have their things where they feel misunderstood. And, so it's like, if we haven't all experienced the same things, how can we expect everybody to get us? You know what I mean? Like, I've had to learn that because I've had the same thing of like, I talk a lot, I'm super passionate, like I use my hands, I'm wild. Like people are like, this guy's crazy. And he's talking about Bitcoin, he's talking about robots and like then rap music. Like, what is he on? Like, and I used to do cocaine, so they think I'm still on cocaine. I'm like, I'm sober, like I tatted my neck. People are like, this guy's wild. But then I'm like, how am I supposed to expect anybody to understand fully my journey if they weren't even on my journey? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't think anybody really ever can
Yeah.
understand that. That's like, I don't know, but that's where it comes back to like being yourself, because when that things aren't like, what society paints it out to be, when you realize that and you can recognize in other people, like, if they're insecure, and that can help, you can help them not be that way anymore. It can help yourself, like, wow, like I'm really growing my mind and I'm really strong, like, and that helps me just continue forward with my life and my journey to where it doesn't bother me. Like you're just kind of shielding, negativity or whatever. You're just kind of like going and continuing, but you're kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. You know, it's kind of, I've dealt with depression, you know, and it kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, I tell my kids, like, you guys are warriors, you know, like you're either going to worry or you're going to be a warrior. Like, which one of the two, you know, because at the end of the day, and it's hard to get to this. I mean, none of this is easy, but you got to choose what you want to feed. Like, you have the choice to what you feed. Do I drown in my sorrows, or do I, you know, recognize what I feel, and then I continue to move forward and, you know, start feeding myself so I can be better. Like, and to really get to that point can be really hard, you know, but that all goes with you recognizing, like, I'm not understood. I got to do this for me, and then just separate myself. Like, I hope that makes, I'm just saying, like, what comes to mind. And, you know, but that's a big part of society. Like, we feel, all of us, like, we feel alone, we feel misunderstood, and kind of like what we talked about, you know, we don't reach out to people because you don't want to be a burden to them. But we also, like, you know, being depressed or, you know, feeling that way has such a negative social, like, people don't want to deal with it. Like, people always want you to be positive, and that right there is negative. Like, you know, go through, you know, just keep on. So
how did were you always like that? Were you always somebody that was just like positive and like, I'm a warrior? Like,
oh,
like,
no.
I feel like we're super similar. Of like, we put out this very positive energy, and it's authentic. Like, this is real. Like, some days I feel like I'm grateful for everything. Nothing can get me down. And other days I'm like, be kind to people. And then I like go cry about something in my room, you know, like,
no.
so how do you deal with that? Where did that come from?
You know, I have, and I still to this day struggle with my insecurities. You know, based off, I try not to live in my past, but sometimes I just can't help it. Like, I get triggered, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to go through this again. Like, I pay attention to that. But like, way back when, and believe it or not, I'm a very, very shy person. Like, I'm really awkward. Like, I blush a lot. And when I was in kindergarten, I didn't talk to anybody. Like, it got to the point where they had to videotape me on VHSs. Like, they had to videotape me talking, so they wouldn't put me in a different kind of classroom because they thought I was deaf and they thought I didn't talk, you know, because I only had one friend, and I would go in the corner. And so growing up, like, and the way that I was manipulated and groomed as a child without knowing, and what was presented to me, I thought that was normal life to be that way. So I was always very like, ugh, like, you know, don't look at me, and I'm stupid, and, you know, I'm this. And it's not until, you know, I had my daughter when I was young, and, you know, I had her, and I was like, I have to work on myself without even realizing it, because I was worried about being married with my ex-husband, and, you know, getting our life together, the house and the cars. Like, I was worried about like all that stuff opposed to my well-being, but subconsciously I started to work on that. So like, as I got older, I started to build confidence. I started to meet other people, you know, and then just like really, like right now, like, it's just, I'm really learning about myself, and I'm like, fuck y'all, like, you cannot, you know, take that from me, because it's been a journey. Like, I'm here now, and I got to focus on who I'm gonna be and not what I was, you know. But and it's so funny to me, people don't believe me ever when I'm like, I'm shy. They're like, you're not shy. I'm like, I'm really, really shy. Like, I struggle, like, even ordering food at McDonald's. Like, you know, you have no idea. But I'm have a similar story too. You know, I can just tell, like, you know, and then sometimes, you know, it can be too much when you're too expressive or too this, but you got to remind yourself, like, no, dude, like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. So.
Man, I resonate with you. Like, I resonate with you a lot. How do you deal with, like, you have a big network. Like, I know people, I know lots of people that know you, you know, like, you're well known in the scene down here, especially in the, like, the hip hop community, right? Or the music scene, like, people know you. But having like that insecurity and like nervousness, and like, how do you handle like having tons of people know you and want things from you and like want to get close to you and talk to you and ask, like, how do you deal with having so many connections but like still having that type of personality?
I don't know. Like, I will say now, like, that's definitely died down, which I'm grateful for, because I've just kind of like went MIA, you know, I just kind of like cut everything off. And so I don't use it as much, but I did deal with it. And I do have people that I admire, look up to, that I do know. And I'm like, wow, like, I can't believe like they really like appreciated my work or whatever, that we're connected. But back then, like when I first started it, you know, and getting to know, like, I just told myself, like, Steph, you don't got a choice. Like, you got to take care of your family. You got to learn something. You got to, you know, go, keep your mind busy. So I didn't allow myself to feel nervous. The only time I would get nervous is right before an event. I'd be like, okay, the door's open. Let me woo-saw. And I would, you know, smoke weed, or I would, you know, I had a friend that gave me like anxiety pills, and I would kind of just like make myself deal with it, you know, like, and I would talk to myself, Stephanie, like, okay, you're a badass bitch. Okay, you got this. Like, don't be nervous. And then like I started getting so many compliments, like, damn, Stephanie, like, we love how you work. Like, we see your grind, you know, and that really meant so much to me, because I really was working, you know, and I had like, you know, and I've developed a lot of awesome relationships with different people. So, and now, you know, when I decided to like let that all go, for the most part, like, I'm dabbling, you know, here and there in the industry,
Sure.
but most part, when I let that go, like, I told myself, like, wow, like, you needed that. You needed to grow, because now, like, this podcast right here, like, I probably wouldn't have done it just because, you know, I'm too hard on myself, you know. But now that I'm here, I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, let's spread the word. Let's talk about being misfits and being authentic and not being scared of who you truly are, because that's going to stimulate and root you to where you need to go. You know, like, you have to be scared and let go of that fear, because a lot of stuff that we, you know, live with day to day is based on fear, because we're scared to do this, we're scared of that. Don't be scared, just do it. Like, just go be the best thing that you can be, you know. So, and I'm really passionate about that, just because I know like what it took for me to get there. And it dealing with, you know, worrying or not worrying, but, you know, meeting new people and them seeing parts of my life. Like, it took a lot. It took a lot.
It's all a journey. You know, we're all like on this journey of like self-discovery and learning and failing and failing and failing and then learning again. And, you know, like, it's just a constant, like, people are like, I can't wait until, like, you know, you're in high school and you're like, I can't wait till I'm adult and I have it all figured out. And like, you'd realize at some point, like, there is no like figuring it out. It's always figuring it out. Like, it's a constant, like, learning.
Yeah. And that's where balance comes into play, learning how to balance what you truly want and how to get there. And okay, well, this didn't go through for me. Well, let me feel what I feel. And yeah, I'm angry right now, but what can I do to change my situation? You know, or, you know, just not just like stressing yourself out. And I have to remind myself sometimes of this too, because I tend to get in my head, and it's like, it can be really bad. And I have bad days, you know. But for the most part, I'm like, okay, well, feel what you feel, get up. Like, you know what you've achieved before, you know what you're capable of. What else can you do? How can you get there? You know, like, what else can be to lead you to what you feel like is your peak for this time in your season, you know? And it's just really you setting that mindset to get you there, in my opinion, and from my, you know, human experience. And I know like you went 100% as well.
Woo! What's up, bro?
My dog's a bear.
What? This is something I'm curious, because like, in my life, I'm at this point in my life where, like, I was a very selfish person. I'll be honest. Like, you know, I worked very hard to, like, I wanted to make money and do things and build things for myself. And I think we're all a bit selfish, which I don't think is all bad. Like, it's self-preservation.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, just doing everything for yourself, at some point you realize, like, this is kind of gross, you know, like, at least for me, I was like, this is kind of gross that, like, all I care about is, like, me and, like, things that I can do for myself. So anyways, that being said, like, I want to do things that help other people. Right. And so, like, with that being said, like, and I know that you even said something about how, like, part of your journey has led you to this place where, like, you want to be able to inspire people, you know, like, you've been through a lot, right? Like, and we still are experiencing a lot, like, but you want to be somebody that's an inspiration. And first of all, I would say to you, I think you should give yourself credit. I think you are an inspiration to a lot more people than you probably realize. Just
Thank you.
from my outward perspective, you know, I think you probably are. I think a lot of us are more inspirational than we think, because we're so hard on ourselves. And, you know, we don't take the compliments well. We don't take the credit very well. We just are like, no. I mean, that's nice. Thanks for saying that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Like,
But it's like you're definitely an inspiration to people, like especially your kids. I can't even imagine like watching you and then just getting a feel for you and assuming how you raise your kids. I'm sure your kids are going to be super, like I see that your daughter's like an artist, I think, right?
Yeah, she's an
Yeah,
artist.
like no, like not to say anything about her. I'm just saying like that came from you, right? Like you encouraged her, I'm assuming, and allowed her to like explore. What does she like? What's she into? Like go chase your dreams, go do things you like. That's not like, so
Yeah.
even there. But what would you say to people that are listening or watching and just the world right now, that we went through this crazy year of 2020? I think everybody got knocked off their horse and was like, my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And then people, you know, that are not as far along in the journey, or are like younger versions of us that are still stuck in like that depressed, anxious state. I would have done terrible in 2020 if I was, you know, 5-6 years ago. Like I would have had a tough time. What would you say to people right now that are still just reeling from like the trauma of the past 12 months, you know, like.
It's so hard to really pinpoint, because I know like we all have different levels of where we are mentally, you know. But I was actually on a podcast the other day, and what really stuck out to me, I'm like, that's because I have a trouble explaining how I say things. I was like, that's the motto right there, you know. And if especially if you've gone through trauma or, you know, depression or, you know, any kind of mental health, or where you're feeling less than, like, you got to know like you are not what's happened to you. Like that's needed to you are, like, to become like this, you know, stone and this rock of a person. But you need, because what do you say, like I don't want to be known for, you know, what happened to me. I want to be known for what I've been able to accomplish and grow through, you know. And that really resonated with me. I'm like, holy crap, like that's what it's about. Like learn, like I don't believe in shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know, because that can drive somebody into insanity. I don't believe in hope. I don't believe in the word happy. Like those three things right there can stop someone from growing into becoming their better selves, you know. So you got to realize like, okay, this happened. How can I move forward? How can I mend my mind? You know, because dealing with that, it's kind of like a dam. Like you know, you're holding all this pressure, and then you have all this water like just hitting up against you. You feel it go through the cracks, you know, and you feel it all like here, that like that's your body, and you're just trying to be strong and hold on. Like no, like find a way to loosen it up, you know, to where the water flows. And I don't know if that makes sense. Like I'm a visual person, that kind of comes to mind. And just find a way to take it day by day. And if you're having a bad day, find something that will help you, you know, for that moment, whether it's going to grab your favorite cup of ice cream, or go make yourself a fruit salad, or buy the $9 drink at Central Market of orange juice. Delicious. Like treat yourself to those small things so you can get accustomed to loving yourself. Because, you know, I also read somewhere else, like if I were to ask you, I think Youre posted it, if they ask you like, what do you love? I guarantee you're not going to mention yourself. We don't think about that. No. And that's what we need to focus on, and really loving each other, not letting other people consume us, whether it's a loved one or whether it's a toxic friend or work, you know, like you got to find a way to literally take it day by day. And that's just what I've learned, you know, with dealing with such heavy things, you know. And it's like what I said earlier, like I gave the world my best. Like I even shocked myself when I was feeling at my worst. So imagine if I'm feeling 100% in love with myself, and, you know, that's going to bleed out to my kids. That's going to multiply. That's going to go to the man that I love, you know, or my family, or, you know, my associates or my friends or people I don't even know. Like if you can comprehend that and get yourself day to day, like find a way to get yourself there. And, you know, for people that are struggling, like there's people that I know have a strong mindset. And I'm like, thank you for being you. I know it wasn't easy for you to be that person, but that inspires me, you know, because I'm like, wow, like, you know. And it's levels to it.
That's so powerful, man. That, first of all, the analogy of the dam, I've never heard that. That's a great analogy. Well, I think it resonates for everybody. Like we all have this dam at some point in our lives that we just hold all the emotions in and all the feelings, and it's just behind this stone wall. That's so good. Whoever said that is amazing. Like you gotta put some cracks in that thing, let it flow out. Like you even said it yesterday, like you're talking about, like it's okay to feel.
Yeah, like it is absolutely okay, you know. And I had experienced something really scary earlier this week. Like I saw someone, you know, just sabotage themselves over another individual. And I remember telling myself, you know, like seeing that, I was like, God, like I used to be that way. Like I used to get completely consumed and shut out. And I, you know, I appreciated seeing that because it shows me like where I'm at with my growth. And then I also been able to help her because, you know, she asked me, she's like, how do you, she's like, she's told me, she's like, you're so brave. Like, how do you? And I'm like, I don't know how I do it. I just, you gotta love yourself, dude. And like, that's why I'm saying like, it's okay to feel, because we want to be this badass bitch or this cool ass, like you want to be this person, but really like fucking feel, you know, and then brush off what you don't want no more and then continue to move forward. Like, but it's all said and done. Like I hate when people are like, oh, like just, you know, it's always easier said than done. That's why you gotta discipline and train your mind.
You're preaching. You're preaching. Like I thought something else you said was super interesting is like when you're working on yourself, like we all like have this desire to like fix people. And like, I mean, think about like the election, all stuff's going on. We all want to like tell everyone like how to think and and it all comes from a good place. I don't care where people are in their thoughts. I think it all comes from a good place. Everybody wants good things for other people. And it's like, everybody has a different perspective on how to accomplish that. But I was talking about this the other day, and that's funny you said that. As I was telling somebody, I was like, if everybody would chill for a minute and stop telling everybody what to do and how to fix themselves and really spend some time and energy working on themselves, that, like you said, it starts to bleed out to other people. So if you really want to fix other people and be a light and be someone that inspires other people like you are now, like your journey through life has led you to a place of like working on yourself, and now it bleeds to your kids and it bleeds out to this friend you were talking about this week. And like, when you focus on working on yourself and being like, okay, before I try to fix everybody else, even though I really want to and my heart is good, I need to work on myself. And, you know, take care of yourself. Go get yourself that $9 drink. Like, do some things. Make yourself, put yourself in a better place to love yourself. And then it starts to bleed out to other people. We're like tracking on the same station right there as far as that thought.
I feel it. Like I don't even know like all of your story, you know, but I can just tell like just the way that you respond and the way that, you know, what you are gravitating to. Because I'm sure some people will see this and be like, like that's not me, you know. But you need to really speak out to the people that understand and that are needing to hear that, you know. And just, you know, I don't, God, I had it in my head. Like, there I go again.
It's because, and sometimes I think this, just to touch on that type of thing that happens, because I almost had it happen a second ago where I like almost lost where I was going. And I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I think this is what it is. And maybe this will help you because it helped me. He helped me see this, is that our thoughts sometimes, I think people that are super empathetic and super emotional, and not to like toot our horns too much, but I think our brains work at a faster pace than a lot of people. And so it's like our brains are moving so fast, we're processing so many things, and we're taking in information, and then we have a thought, and then we have a feeling, and we're just like, so there's so many feelings combining with all these thoughts. Sometimes it just dissipates because it's like overload, because there's so much going on up here. It's not like we don't have anything going on and we're just like, oh, I forgot my thought because like I'm just not thinking. It's like so much is happening here, and I'm so excited and passionate, and I have thoughts and like feelings, and it's all combining together into this soup that like the brain just goes for a minute, and you just have like a fly moment where you're like I think that's what that is. It happens to me all the time. That's funny that you and I have that.
Yeah, that's actually really comforting because, you know, I just lose my train of thought. Like it's kind of like I had this the day, like I feel, I'm sure you can relate, like those little balls, the plasma balls where you put your finger on it and it's like all electricity goes to there. Like that's how it's pathetic, you know, because in having anxiety, like you touch it and just everything goes there. Something just kind of fall off, you know, and just go away. But like that's just how I view it. So that's probably why I lose my train. That's a really good way. And thank you, because sometimes I'll be talking, I'm like, what? But I don't mean to. My kids always they're like, Mom, you always say huh, and I'm like, you're like, are you gonna be done telling your story? I'm like, just be patient with me, please.
I think that's it. I think it's because there's so much going on. It's like thoughts and emotions and feelings and everything mixed together, and so much is happening. Sometimes it's impossible for you to just like process all at once, and you just have a little like, and then you reset. It's like a reset. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I told my ex this one time, and I think of this right now as like, and this is one of the things she actually said she agreed with me on. But I was telling her one time, I was like, because I had those moments and I was talking about something like that. I was like, it's like a power cord, right? Like we're all plugged into a power source, right? Like our lives are like a source of power. And sometimes there's so much power going to the outlet that it goes bzz, and you have to press that reset button.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
Yeah,
think that's what a lot of people have, because my dad has it too, and he's a super smart guy, a super empathetic dude, and he has those moments where he's like, I'm sorry, what were we talking about, you know? And I think it's just you have to press that mental reset button on like your brain outlet, because you like overload it with emotions and so many thoughts that you have to go, boop. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Next time I push like my hair dryer, I'm gonna be like, this is you.
That's
Reset.
you.
Reset. How do you like, can I ask you something? Like I know you're like talking, but let me, as an empath or as someone that feels more than normal, like how do you deal with that? How has that affected you in your day-to-day and with your personal relationships? Like do you feel like that's a curse, or do you feel like, you know, that you're ever too much with someone? Like how do you manage to get through that? Because I really want to know this.
I first of all used to definitely think I was too much, and I still struggle with it, like especially in relationships. I think romantic relationships, feeling like, and having women tell me that like I'm super intense and like super, I'm just a lot. I've had girls tell me you're a lot, like you're really intense, you know. And so it gets in my head of like, man, I'm a lot, I'm too much. How do I like calm myself down? But then just realizing as I've gotten older that like these are like gifts that I've been given. You know what I mean? Like everybody's different, and like we were saying earlier, just because you don't get it doesn't mean I'm not special. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm special. Like it's hard to understand and even accept sometimes, but like I've had to tell myself, and getting sober, like I don't know if you know, part of my story is like I was a super addict, like alcohol, cocaine mainly, but drugs, whatever. I just like being messed up. Like so like as I've gotten sober, I've learned things like you said it, like living one day at a time and being like, I'm here, I'm present in this moment. I am what I am. Like other people's opinions doesn't matter. I am what I am. I'm working on myself. And then for me, like my spirituality has like helped a lot. Like since I got sober, I like reconnected with my faith, and like I spend a lot of time like praying and like breathing and just trying to be still. And those like simple practices have helped me like lower my anxiety a bit, and just like go to a place of like thinking about myself and like accepting myself more. I don't know if that answers the question. Does that make any sense?
That's really good. Yeah, because I feel like meditating, even if it's a small step, like that's a step where above to where you were, you know, and you can be whole with yourself, because the goal is to be at peace and be wholesome, you know.
Yeah.
Aside from, you know, being successful and stuff like that, like I know that we all want that. You know, I ask you because I don't really know or conversate with too many people that feel the same way that I do, and I feel like I'm crazy at times, especially in relationships. You know, I have abusive relationships, but you know, not to go into too much detail, but you know, I've found myself like struggling with how I feel. I'm like, damn, like don't, you know, and I thank you.
Yeah.
Because I struggle with it too. I'm just like, God, like, can you feel? And then I just allow myself, you know, to be that. And, you know, luckily, like, you know, I have a very understanding person in my life that helps ease my mind, you know, and that's not easy to come by because it can be very annoying. But then I get mad at myself, like, damn, Stephanie, like, why are you that? You know, and then I'm like, no, like, you should feel what you feel, and don't feel that way. Like, you have every right to feel that way. And then sometimes I'm wrong too. Like, sometimes I'm a toxic person, or I don't try to be, you know, sometimes I ruin my shit. So a lot to do with being very intense and empathetic and sympathetic and just, you know, spiritual, like having an understanding of, you know, being a human and, you know, above, I don't know, above everything else, like in the spiritual world. Very
and I think you have to remember, like we were saying earlier, is like, first of all, not everybody is I don't think most people, and no offense people, I don't think most people are empaths on like the deepest level. You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone has emotions, right? We all have feelings and emotions, but some of us walk around, wake up in the morning and walk through the day feeling everything always, all the time, never stopping.
Yeah.
That's
Even
not most people.
Yeah, it's not most people. Because like, do you go into public, or like, like I just said, like driving, or being out somewhere, and you just feel it, and you're just like, oh, like, get away from me, and sometimes like, damn, stuff be like, I'm just driving, like I'm not paying attention. I'm like, yeah, but I feel it. Like, I feel like this person's angry at me for going 85 miles an hour. I feel this person, I feel them about to come into my lane and not put their blinker on, like, where I feel like them being annoyed that I'm taking too long at the self scanner, like, and then I'm like, am I insecure? But then most of the time my intuition is right. So, and that's another thing too. I've been trying to follow my gut, like follow what I, because that's what helped save my family, and that moment I was like, can't nobody ever tell me that I'm crazy for feeling what I feel. But sometimes I do act crazy. It's so much. I know you get it.
Oh, I totally get it. And this is another thought I have on. I'm glad we're going down this rabbit hole, because I think there will be people that listen that are going to be like, oh, thank God, I'm not crazy. I feel too. This is how I think about it too. There are some people like Elon Musk that have just been given brains that are just like a superhuman brain. That guy is a genius. And you and I, no offense, will never create space rockets and Tesla car. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's a super genius. But I think that we've been given like almost a superpower of empathy. Like, it's a superpower. Like, most people don't have it, but our lives, I think, will be remembered mostly for how we affect other people, because we had the ability to connect and feel so deeply. It's a superpower. It's a straight superpower.
You're right. And
but because it's different than other people, and not most people have it, we feel misunderstood. We feel like we're not enough, or that we are weird, or whatever. We just have a superpower, and most people don't have it, so they can't get it.
Yeah, no, and like, I love that. Like, and I love meeting other people that are, because God, and it sounds so arrogant, but it's not. That's not really my approach to this. There's other people that are distinguished and that completely understand, are on the same level as we are. And I know that there's people above us, on that levels, and there's people that, not beneath us, but they're not quite there with our kind of understanding. So of meeting people that like, you just get it, like you get it, like, I don't even have to know you like that to know, like, okay, like, all right, you are right there with me, like, you, like, okay, we're here. And so I appreciate that, and I think it's so beautiful finding those people. And we gotta kind of hold on to each other, I feel like, and just know, like, this is comfortable knowing that you are feeling that way too. And I find myself gravitating now to a lot of different people that, think the same way. And I'm like, wow, this is really life-changing. Like, it's not just me.
You're not alone. Like, that's, we all have felt in life like we're alone. And usually people feel alone because they think that nobody is like them, or nobody understands them. But then you start to meet other people and you go, oh, I'm not so alone. I just felt like it because I didn't know other people that could relate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure you're aware of Gary Vee. Do you know Gary Vee?
I do not. Who is
No?
that?
Okay. You should look into him. He's a businessman. He's a crazy successful businessman. But he puts out tons of content around business, but just around kindness and just about being a good person and things. And he's a very empathetic dude, though. But like he says, like, everyone's been given a gift, right? And he says this specific example is like, the value of a basketball in LeBron James' hands is billions of dollars, right? But the value of a basketball in my hands is like -10, like,
Yeah.
right? But it's just, it's that perspective of like, everyone has a different gift. Like, we shouldn't look down on people that can't play basketball well, right? Because they haven't been given that gift, but they definitely have a different gift. And we shouldn't look up too much to LeBron, right? We should, like, he's been given a certain gift. We've been given a certain gifts. It's like understanding we all have different gifts, and it can be misunderstood, but like, you have to embrace your gift and use your gift. Like, some people don't have it, and that's okay. and some people have different gifts, and it's just understanding your gifts, I think, that starts to help you really realize who you are and accept it more, and seeing your quirks and all and my weirdness and my antics as a gift and part of me, and then you start to love it more, you know, instead of being like, oh, I'm weird, I suck, blah blah blah. No,
Yeah.
I'm awesome, I have
Yeah.
cool gifts.
It's a beautiful way of looking at it, you know, like I've never heard that before, and that's a really, like, that actually, like, it's probably gonna, I'm gonna reflect back on that, you know, alone right there. And it makes a lot of sense. And my thing is too, like, how do you know what your gifts are? You know, like, you just kind of have to, like, test the waters, you know. That's why, like, I'm sure you've seen my Instagram, like, I'm posting whatever the fuck I feel like posting, and, you know, trying to interact to see, like, what, like, I travel, like, you know, I do stupid things, I'll post things with my kids, I'll post the sensual side of me, you know, like, I'm trying to, like, see, like, where I am, or, like, and not even, you know, that social media is on my gift, but I'm just trying to try different things, you know, even off social media, like, to see, like, where is it that I truly can, you know, focus in on that and just grow from there, you know, like, how can I do that? But how do you distinguish what your gift is? Like, that's one thing that I'm trying to figure out and battling, like, what do I know what I'm meant for, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you know that? I just know that I'm worthy. I don't know how or why or who, what, when, and where. I just know that I'm meant for something so big, but I don't know what, you know. And I know you understand that. It's just like, how, like, if you ever find the answer, let me know.
This is my answer, man. I think that what everybody's like, everybody has, like, I think everybody has unique individual gifts and purposes, right? But I think we all have one collective gift and purpose, and that's the ability to love other people, love yourself, and love other people. Everyone has the ability to do that, and then careers and money and things are all, like, secondary and third. Like, once you realize, like today, like, my desire for today is to, like, interact with you and have a positive interaction, and hope that something you say inspires me to go give that to somebody else, and something I say inspires you to give to someone else. And that's today's purpose. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Everything else is secondary. Like, the bills are paid. Like, that stuff doesn't matter, right? Like, if I am living my life every day to, like, love myself and love other people, in my mind, I'm fulfilling my entire life's purpose, and let it all play out how it may at the end. If I do that every day for the next 57 years, I think I'll die fine.
Yeah, yeah, and that's another scary thought too. Like, you gotta, like, money isn't everything, you know. And as long as you know that, like, it's so rich to what you said. Like, as long as you, like, you could even be homeless in the street.
Mm-hmm.
You think that you're okay and you're happy with life, and your day to day, like, in your mind, if you're okay with that, then that's wholesome, that's fulfilling, that's being rich, you know, like, that's
Mm-hmm.
your of being okay and being successful. So that makes sense, you know. um it's just, gosh, it's just never ending, and death is inevitable, and that's something that I'm like, oh, I don't want that. And then I go into a rabbit hole. But with that being said, like, my son, he has a fear of, I mean, I know every child has a fear of their parent passing away, but he has a true fear, like, when I drive or travel, he's worried about it. And I have to tell him, and I worry about it too, but I have to tell him, like, we got to live in these moments, because even when I'm long gone, like, I'm always gonna be with you, like, whether I taught you something or whatever, like, I made you. So, like, you got to appreciate the moments that we have together. And it's so eerie to say that. I don't know. I just started thinking about death, and but anyway, yes.
That's a real fear. I mean, everybody has to face it at some point, and we all think about it, like we all die. Everyone knows that, right? And but you wrestle with it, like, it's scary. Like, what do you think about death? What happens when you die? What happens to the people I leave behind when I die? You know, like,
Yeah.
there's so much complexity to it, which, if you can't live in the moment, which I think we're both learning, is like, and I'm learning, and hopefully people listening will learn, like, the more you're able to reel yourself into the moment, and let that kind of fade into, like, yeah, that's an inevitable, and when that time comes, it'll come, but, like, don't let it cloud where you're at today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes
You,
sense.
yeah, you can't, but it's so easy to get there too. Like, it's, again, you just got to pick what you choose to feed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really good.
I do too. Like, I'm super energized. Like, I get these,
Yeah.
like, when I have these interactions, it energizes me and it inspires me. So, like, thank you. Like, you have inspired me by just talking with me. It inspires me.
Ditto. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you. Like, I felt the need to say, I was like, God, like, because it's such a different approach, you know. It's not like, you know, needing anything from me. It's just such a good, transparent conversation. So, and
It's
I appreciate
authentic.
it. Yeah.
Appreciate you back.
I love
I hope that, like, again, I hope that people that are listening, like, hear the authenticity here. Like, we're not putting on a show. This is not for, we don't need anything from anybody, right? Like, this is just two humans interacting and trying to make each other better, listen, understand. Again, if the world would do that better, would just listen to people, try to understand, be empathetic, like, be nice to people. Like, these are basic things. And we forget about them when we get wrapped up in, like, our opinions and our emotions and politics and the so many disagreements of the world. It's like, that stuff is really just foolishness. It's just garbage. Like, everyone gets to have an opinion on whatever they want. Allow it and focus more on just being nice to people, understanding, trying to be helpful to people, you know, like what you're doing. Like, you left money and success and all those things to just, like, find out who you are and focus on yourself. And you literally said it, and let it spill into your family and your friends. Like, that's so genuine. Like, that's the most noble thing anybody could do. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you. It's really hard to get there. And I struggle every day. Don't get me wrong. I have my bad areas, but it's the best decision I've ever made. And, you know, when because people are like, how are you doing stuff? I'm like, dude, I'm good. Like, this part of my life, like, I'm really happy. And right now is just, you know, figuring it out, and then just, you know, I guess hammering things down that I want, you know, to be secure in my future, and just go from there. Like, I'm really excited, and I hope, like, and you understand it too, because you've been through it. You quit your job, you know, and you manage a lot of things, and now, like, you're helping people on your platform. You're learning and you're growing as you do this too. So it's really cool to experience that, I feel like.
Well, before I wrap it up, I would just say, like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, I think what you're doing, actually, I wouldn't say I think. I believe that what you're doing is, like, the right thing. I don't want to say I think. It doesn't matter what I think. I believe. That's more powerful. I believe what you're doing is correct. Like, I really do. I think focusing on, you know, less of the Americanized things of what we're supposed to do and, like, fit into the mold. Like, keep breaking the mold and keep following your gut. I think your intuition will lead you well.
Yeah, thank you. I needed to hear that because I struggle with it, but thank you. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just know it feels good. So, and it's good to, like, hear that, because that motivates me. Like, okay, well, I can go to Utah if I want to. And, you know, I don't know. It's just, thank you.
Whatever you want. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Do you have any, like, is there anything last things that you would that you want to say to people, or that you would leave people with, like, maybe a little nugget of truth or inspiration that you've kind of something that's helped you along the journey?
You know, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what kind of nugget I could leave, because it's just so much. Just at the end of the, you know, realize, like, what you want your vision to be, and, you know, just go through everything, go through all the motions to get you what you want in your life, and figure out what it is that you want. Like, find a way to be fulfilled within yourself, you know, and on that. Like, that's the only thing I can say, because we are all on different levels, you know, we're all different train of thoughts and all this stuff. Like, just focusing on your vision and chop away at that, and do what makes you feel good for you. Like, that holds, like, it's so corny to say that, but do what makes you feel good for yourself. Like, just don't like, I don't know, just don't get consumed by it. Just go with that. So,
Don't
also
overjudge yourself.
yeah, but I do believe there are times in life where there's something, because I'm a very passionate person, and I do believe in fighting. Like, once I find what I want, and I know, like, I don't have it all the way yet, like, I will fucking put up a fight. Like, I fight like a motherfucker. But for the most part, like, you know, why, what it is that you're gonna fight for and continue to feed, just do what makes you feel, you know, your best self, like your highest self. So that would be my little nugget, I think, if it even is a nugget. For me, it is.
I think the whole conversation was a huge nugget. The whole thing was great. The whole thing was great.
It feels so good. I'm going to have a really good week because of this, and I can't wait. Like, this is a life-changing conversation for me. So good. I appreciate, like, aside from the podcast and everything, like, it's really good. And then you allowed me to kind of let out, you know, things I don't really talk about, especially publicly. So thank you.
Absolutely. We have to allow each other, and we have to be there for people to allow them to express. I've learned that we have to let people be there for people and let them express themselves. Like, let people be, like, just be a listening ear sometimes and let them be real, let them be authentic. Yeah. So that's what I would leave people with is, as Stephanie said this whole time, anybody's listening, be who you are and accept it, and don't try to change because you feel different. Embrace your differences, because the things that you think are weird are your superpowers, man. They really are. The things that make you unique, that make you feel like you don't fit into the mold, that you're different and you're not like the Instagram models or all that, or you're quirky or you're weird or whatever, eccentric, like those are your superpowers. Like, that is what makes you you. That's a superpower. Don't change it. That's what I'll leave people with.
Hell yeah. Like, I'm listening. I'm taking that in too. That is very true. So comforting.
Well, thanks for coming on, Stephanie. Let's stay connected. Like, we need good people in our lives, especially when the world's upside down. Like, we got to stay connected.
You have my information. I have yours. We'll stay connected. You know, I know we'll probably go into our little, you know, burrows, but just let me know. I'm here.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Okay.
Bye. Take care of yourself.
You too.